Well, we got our 4th episode of Hawkeye entitled Partners, am I right? And it's time to do another review. We are abandoning the spoiler-free format, so if you haven't seen this episode yet, I recommend you go check it out and then come back over and see it. But a lot happened this week, the story moved forward quite a bit, and we got a major MCU character that finally made their appearance in this episode. Let's break it all down. Now, before we dive in though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We got a PlayStation 5 to give away at 25,000 subscribers. All you need to do to get in our giveaway is be a subscriber and leave us a comment. Also, while you're at it, check out the free Week of Skillshare down below. It's a pretty cool way to develop all of your superhero skills for that never-ending war on crime, all while not diving too deep into your pockets. Plus, it really does help the channel, so we really appreciate it. Well, like I said, we're switching this up a little bit and we're going to talk a little more spoilers in these reviews. So if you haven't seen this episode yet, once again, go back and watch it because I don't want to be the guy that ruins it for you. Well, this episode totally picked up where the last one left off, with the threat posed by that Ronin sword still held against Clint's throat. Now, eventually, Jack and Eleanor, Kate's mom, realize who their uninvited guests are, but appear a bit surprised it's Kate and an Avenger. This interaction between her and her mom and the dynamic there was pretty interesting. We all already know Jack is some sort of villain, and he's clearly up to no good. To me, it felt like the whole time he was gathering information to try to use it against both Kate and her mom. His full motives have not yet to be revealed. I also really liked how Eleanor asked Clint to keep her daughter out of this business. This is exactly what a mom would do. It really felt like a real-life piece of story. I know I wouldn't want my kid in the line of fire, and I totally understand why Eleanor does not. This led to Clint promising to keep her safe, which was a major part of this story in many ways. We actually got a look into Clint's head during this episode, and the immense amount of emotion and guilt he carries for the death of Natasha Romanoff. Natasha's death clearly weighs heavy on Clint, and quite honestly, there were several parallels, some pretty obvious, in this episode. Hailee Steinfeld's Kate Bishop really is just a good egg. When she showed up at Clint's apartment with all the Christmas stuff, worried that he was having a horrible holidays, it really did speak to her character. Now, one thing I was really wondering though is about Laura. Clearly, Clint's wife has skills. Many more skills than we all possibly know about. And when she found out about Sloan and Kazi, it really seemed to me she might actually have some sort of background in quote-unquote the business. Many people are actually speculating online now that she could actually be the MCU Mockingbird. I don't think this is probably true, but it really would be quite the surprise and tell us where that character actually went. She was a big part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but we all know that's not canon. Now, beside the little side quest that Kate Bishop had to do to retrieve some trick arrowheads with the help of her LARP friends, most of this episode was focused on retrieving that Rolex that was stolen during the auction from the opening episode. The Rolex is tied to another Avenger and reveals some personal details about them that could out that person and put them and their family in danger. Obviously, this is something Clint wants no part of. Once they track the Rolex down, well, quite honestly, all hell breaks loose. As we find out in the episode, the watch is actually located in Maya Lopez's apartment, aka Echo. There's a couple subtle clues there with the strobe lights, but quite honestly, I totally missed it. And eventually, Kate gets jumped by Maya and pretty much got her butt whipped. Lucky for her, Clint was there to shoot across the zip line, and after a rather comical crossing, we get the major showdown of the episode. Now, while Kate was trying to grab the watch, Clint has been attacked. And it's the appearance we've all been waiting for this season. Now, it's not apparent right away, but Clint has been targeted by Yelena Belova. And as many of you know, in that Black Widow post-credit scene, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine sicked the new Black Widow and made her believe that he is responsible for the death of Natasha Romanoff. Given how much emotion we saw Clint displaying during this episode about this death, we all know she's totally mistaken, and I think if she could see into his mind, she would realize it very quickly. There was another interesting parallel in this episode, and that was the shot I didn't take. Kate Bishop has a complete beatdown on the new Black Widow, but she doesn't take the shot. To me, this is foreshadowing a very interesting relationship in the future, and quite honestly, the chaotic energy that both Hailee Steinfeld and Florence Pugh could bring to those characters would be spectacular. How great would it be to see the new Black Widow and Hawkeye team up? It almost seems written in stone based on what I've seen here, but we'll have to wait and see what Marvel Studios does. Now, the episode closes up with a bit of a downer. Clint promised Kate's mother he would not let anything bad happen to her, and after several close calls during this battle, he basically puts an end to this game, telling her, "Go home, Kate, it's over." Clint believes a Black Widow assassin is chasing them, and because of that, he needs to put as much distance between him and Kate as possible. All in all, this episode of Hawkeye was a ton of fun, but there were a couple of really great non-action scenes that I wanted to highlight. Digging into Clint Barton's grief and the performance by Jeremy Renner in this particular episode was off the charts. I genuinely felt sorry for the guy, and he clearly is not over everything that happened with Natasha. I think his protective instincts because of Natasha's death are transposing over to Kate, and with the appearance of a new Black Widow trying to take him down, he's going to probably do anything he can do to protect her and prevent history from repeating itself. Now, overall, I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. This was pretty much my favorite episode this season, although there were a couple slow spots in the beginning. Jeremy Renner and Hailee Steinfeld continue to just carry this show with a lot of fun. I actually think Steinfeld's personality is going to take her far with this character, and this is just the beginning. So, what do you guys think? How did you like this episode of Hawkeye? And how did you like the appearance of Florence Pugh in the series? We all knew she was going to show up, it was just a matter of when, but I love they went with the comic book mask. Sound off in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you're not going to get any updates. Peace.